8:21 now at Newstalk 96.5 KPEL. You heard us talking to Stephen Wagaspak, a CEO of LABI, Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. He's in town today, and there's another event going on just across town. The governor will be there, and our own U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy, who joins us on the phone. It's a big expansion for a big company here in Acadiana. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing real good. So you will be on hand for the big, I don't know if it's technically not a groundbreaking, right? Because I see stuff being done over there. But LHC Group over on the south side of town.
Yeah, isn't that fantastic? LHC is obviously a South Louisiana success story, and it's in many states, but it's centered in Lafayette. And so good for us, good for the jobs, good for the white-collar jobs that kind of diversify our economy. Congratulations, LHC.
So we were talking in our last segment to the CEO of LABI, and that was the big thing he talked about was jobs, that is what's ultimately going to move the needle in the state. We heard some comments from the governor of Texas, who was in town this week, speaking with some of the other the two Republican candidates for governor here in our state. And I think we sit back sometimes, especially in this area, talking about oil and gas and other things, about the number of people who are leaving to go to Texas. Do you see that as a big problem?
Of course it's a big problem, and it's the people who are the future of our economy. It is the folks who are graduating from ULL and LSU and McNeese, and some stay here, but some leave, not just Texas, but Atlanta and elsewhere. We need to have our state as the place where people come to. And you do that by diversifying your economy, number one, and two, having a great lifestyle. We have a great lifestyle, but for some folks, there's other amenities we need to develop as well.
So you kind of see the comings and goings of what's going on in Washington, D.C. Talk about some of the priorities you have on your plate right now, especially for South Louisiana at this time.
Yeah, well, the thing that was just controversial was whether or not we are going to, how much we're going to secure the southern border. And with drugs pouring across the southern border, it is like every state, the border state. So that's been the big thing. I'm supporting the president in terms of how we do that. Secondly is drug costs. How do we lower the cost of medicine? Rob, it's incredible. Drugs which have been off patent for 10 years are 8 times more expensive in our country than in, say, Canada. So also working on that. And then flood insurance. Flood insurance continues to be a big issue, and those big floods up in Nebraska kind of bringing it to a point. It's not a Gulf Coast issue. It's not a Northeast issue. It is a national issue. We're pushing that as well.
I want to talk about the drug prices because I see it time and time again, even with some of my own friends who have had a child who is sick. And, you get to a point where you say, well, there's no price on them getting better. It's whatever it costs. But you see people who literally go into bankruptcy for a long-term medical illness or the cost of drugs. Is there anything to do other than an entitlement, which I almost hate that word sometimes, because guess what? There are some people who really need it. It's the group that doesn't need it, or the ones who keep getting it after they are gainfully employed, that causes the ultimate problems.
So there's a lot of things to do that are free market. One thing I'm pushing, for example, if you take these generic medicines, they're off patent. They're available in other countries for less money. Oftentimes, the active ingredient is produced, say, in India, and it goes to Europe or it goes to the United States. We should allow our wholesalers to buy, as long as there's a secure supply chain, to buy the same medicine from Europe that we're being gouged for in the United States. It restores competition. You now have to compete against somebody. When folks compete, prices come down.
Well, and I have to tell you, I don't think they would have to buy it from Europe for more than a month before the others here would say, hold up, okay, uncle, we'll sell it to you for that price. There was a story that came out this week, and it had to do with a drug that was the answer to postpartum depression. Okay, so we hear the stories, wow, there's never been anything specifically for this, great. Then you hear the price tag, $34,000 for a 2-day IV treatment. Who could ever afford that?
Well, what they're booking is that women who are pregnant are covered by insurance, and so they charge insurance. I don't know their development cost, but part of it is that since insurance covers things, the companies feel like they can pass on the cost, and there's no sticker shock to the patient.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out, how do you calculate the value of a drug? There's a medicine that's made out of 2 over-the-counter medicines, Motrin and Pepcid. It cost you $40 if you bought them over the counter. Don't need a prescription. There's a drug company that combined them and sells them for $2,500 a month. And the way they get their price is because insurance pays for it, not the individual.
Wow.
So we just need to figure out the marginal benefit of these drugs and let the patient know.
All right, so in about an hour and a half over on Hugh Wallace Road, the big LHC Group expansion, it's going to happen there. The governor will be there as well. Big expansion for a pretty crucial company that's based here. You talked about how they operate in different areas. Their base of operations is here. What does that mean as far as jobs for this area?
Well, we want to diversify our economy. Oil and gas is going to be the cornerstone of our economy, but oil and gas has many facets, right? You have the exploration, you have the production, you have the oil field service, you have the pipeline production. But then outside of oil and gas, we need to have these sorts of white-collar jobs where it's not just healthcare, it's actually management of healthcare which is nationwide. And so that's just one more way our economy diversifies. Since oil and gas is always up and down, it helps smooth off those ups and downs.
All right, U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy in town today. Thanks for your time this morning.
Thanks, Rob.
All right.